Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Lamenters. At the end of the previous episode, the party had been through a heck of a combat with not one, but two giants and a big direwolf. They survived, but it was pretty brutal, and they made their way through the rest of the foothills. And as they were going through the foothills, they were assaulted by a brutal storm. Massive rain, thunder, lightning, all that stuff. And they saw, as they came around a pass, a manor up on a hill, not quite a castle, but nonetheless a possible place for respite. And they made their way to the manor house. They were brought in by a stable boy who stabled their horses, and then they were asked if they were there to see the doctor. You guys may remember that the stable boy told you that the doctor had guests, so he would have to go check and see if it would be okay for you to go into the manor. And that's where we're going to pick up. So you guys are hanging out in the stables. Your horses are out of the rain. You're out of the rain. The storm is just pelting the stables. The roof has some leaks in it. Water's dripping. But it's better than being out where you were before. And the other thing that you guys noticed, as I had mentioned, that in the open entrance area to the stables, there is a finely crafted carriage, like the kind of carriage that nobles in the Eastern Kingdoms ride around in, with very well-built construction, and then just decked out, totally adorned, painted, pristine condition. And the two horses that you surmise pulled this carriage were in the two stalls just into the entrance. And even those horses are heavy-duty horses. Anything that you wanted to do while you're waiting for the stable boy to return?
I guess go to probably to Sarah and ask, "Hey Sarah, do you recognize ornaments on that carriage or not?"
Well, let's see.
Indeed, let's.
What do I roll?
I guess like to see if you would we're talking about like to see if you recognize any symbols or signs or coat of arms, that kind of stuff.
Intelligence?
Yeah, I mean, just without even needing to roll, like you don't see the carriage bearing any markers or anything that would indicate its place of origin or its connection to a noble family on the outside. Like there's nothing painted on the carriage.
Okay, I'm going to look at the horse's tack, see if there's any symbols, a heraldry on it.
Nothing of the kind.
Okay, well, then I'll check the door and open one of the doors.
Okay, well, you find that the door is unlocked.
Okay.
And, as you open up the door, you see, like, the interior is possibly more plush than the exterior. I mean, there is a rug on the floor that looks like it is either brand new or it is kept in meticulously clean condition. You see that the seating is very well adorned, like velvet seats, velvet backing. There are pillows on the interior for additional comfort. It's unlike anything that you've seen in terms of its overall craftsmanship. The interior wood is painted and meticulously detailed. The woodworking itself even has like scroll work built into it.
Well,
definitely something that, I mean, the style is something that you feel like is, what you would see in the kingdom of Piatra, the northern of those two eastern kingdoms.
Yeah.
It has that style and that sense of color, like a lot of colorful use of color.
Well, no actual markings. I don't want to climb in here and snoop around, but
you do see a couple things of interest. There are like brass hooks built into the wall for like hanging capes and cloaks. Nothing is hung there. But you see though that there would be hooks that would accommodate certainly hanging up two distinct outfits.
yeah, whoever.
There is a rear outside. There's a rear door that opens up, which you would presume to be for storage as well.
Well,
I wouldn't rifle in it that much. That's the prime ticket to get kicked out of here.
Yeah, it's okay. Well, whoever owns this obviously is a rather wealthy noble here in the north. I'm just going to go back to the baggage compartment and just open it up and look.
Okay.
Oh, I shut the door.
Okay, you do. You open up the baggage compartment and you see that there is room for baggage, which you presume has been taken out and maybe taken into the manor. But you also see a wooden lockbox that looks like it is like built into the larger rear storage container. And that wooden lockbox is painted like a vibrant gold and blue. Like the main part of the box is blue, and then all the clasps are painted in gold, and it is banded also in a decorative gold. And you notice
vibrant,
that like,
vibrant blue and gold.
Yeah, and you notice that it also bears a crest on it.
Aha.
A crest which you recognize.
Okay.
And it is the crest of House Odotia.
What do I know about House Odotia?
Well, House Odotia is the ruling house of the Kingdom of Piatra.
Ooh, okay.
So they have been in power for quite some time.
Okay, I will shut that baggage compartment and I will say, guys, we are on lands of high nobility. This is a dwelling connected to the House Odotia. I'm wondering if the doctor doesn't have guests from this high family, and they use this conveyance to get here. So whoever we talk to, Veet, be careful, okay? Be very respectful.
As you're sharing this insight with the rest of the group, you see the stable boy running back from the main house. And you see he's carrying a bundle. You're not sure what, because it's the rain's coming down. Lightning crashes across the sky. He makes it in the stable and he kind of shakes the wet off and he shakes out this bundle. And you see that he has like 6 capes. And he hands them to each of you. And he says, please, sirs and lady, you can use these, hold them over yourselves, and we'll make our way to the manor. The doctor will see you.
Yeah. Thank you. And I'll try to put my cape on.
Yeah, and you notice that the capes are not fancy; they're more utilitarian, but they seem to be oiled, as if to keep the rain off. So he hands them out. You guys kind of bring them up over yourselves, in a manner, and then he kind of looks to all of you, and when you're ready, he begins kind of jogging across the grounds. Literally so much water that like every footstep that you guys take is splashing. You make it to the front entrance, which has like a decorative overhang with 2 columns. I hesitate to call it a porch because that would be rather provincial, but it's basically this front entrance area. So you guys get out of the rain, and he then collects and sort of shakes off the cloaks and sets them on a wooden bench outside of the entrance. And then he approaches the double doors and opens them and kind of pulls them open, and he beckons for you to go inside. He doesn't himself enter. He just kind of opens the door, holds the doors for you guys, and gestures for you to go inside.
Okay, I'll go in first.
Everybody goes inside. Make a dexterity saving throw. Just kidding. You go inside, and the entrance is a huge 2-story foyer, well lit. The floors are marble. There's a small kind of coat room off to the right. And then to the left, you see this ornate stairwell that kind of curves up to a second floor landing, and then to a set of double doors, which you presume lead to some kind of hallway. There's also another door off of the foyer, like straight ahead of you, that is currently closed. In this foyer, there's a whole like seating area, like very nicely carved wooden benches and chairs with comfortable pillows. They're not upholstered, but it's basically like really richly done, dark stained wooden furniture. Hanging from the ceiling of the second floor foyer is this huge wrought iron candelabra with like 40 candles. So this foyer is relatively well lit. A moment after walking in, the stable boy closes the double doors, and then the door opposite of where you guys entered opens up, and you see a well-dressed, like middle-aged gentleman with a crown of gray hair, kind of bald on top, and a well-manicured, like gray beard. Comes down to a point. And he's wearing like an all-black outfit, like a black velvet jacket, like a black high-collared shirt, black pants, black leather shoes. And he enters and he says, "Good evening, sirs. I am the steward of Moskvin Manor, and we were led to believe that you were passing through and may be in need of the services of the doctor. I would be happy to situate you in the parlor. The doctor is just finishing up a dinner with some guests, but he would be along shortly." And he kind of looks at you guys and the state that you're in, and he says, If I may ask, if any of you would like to leave your cloaks in the cloakroom, as well as your boots, I would provide you with some house slippers."
That would be very well.
Superb. And he actually helps you. Like he gets down, helps you take your boots off. And you see in the coat room, there's like a whole row of kind of throw rugs, and he kind of neatly stacks, sets your boots along there. He takes your cloaks, kind of shakes them out, puts them on a hanger, and hangs them. Noticing, obviously, that you guys are armored and armed to the teeth as well. He says, if you would like to leave any of your weaponry, you may do so. There are spaces, and he kind of gestures to these wooden lockers, but they don't have doors. They're just kind of like built-in shelves, vertical and horizontal, where you could leave your weapons.
I'll do that.
Okay.
I'll leave everything except my greatsword.
And you notice that, like, in some of these lockers, there are like iron hooks for hooking, like quivers or bows, that kind of stuff. So after a few minutes of kind of getting settled in, he then helps you put on these house slippers, which are basically just soft-soled, soft fur-lined shoes, and they're extraordinarily comfortable.
Yep.
After that, he leads you through that door that he came through, and you see, as you're passing through, that it's a long hallway, like really long, like 100 feet long. There are iron sconces on the walls, which all have candles in them, kind of going all the way down the hallway. And there's a set of double doors to the right, which he leads you to and immediately opens. And he says, "The parlor, if you please." And he gestures. You notice that there are other doors on the left side down the hall and right side, and then a door all the way down the hall. But all those doors seem to be closed. He leads you into the parlor, which is a sizable room. It's like 24 by 20. And you notice that it has upholstered furniture and these, beautiful rugs. There's like a bearskin rug right by this fireplace. The fire is going. It's very warm and comfortable. You also notice that there is like a sidebar with bottles of various, what you presume is alcohol, and crystal goblets. And he just gestures for you guys to make yourselves comfortable, and he offers to, if anyone would like some wine, we have several vintages here. We also have the most famous, the mead, which is, as you may know, if you're not from here, our mead is made by the monks in Nikovala.
I ask, is smoking allowed in here?
He says, "It is, of course. And if your tobacco is wet," and he walks over, and just kind of adjacent to the bar, there's these like brass kind of vessels with lids on them, and he takes 2 of them off and brings them over to you, and he says, "We also have 2 different vintages of pipeweed as well." He says, "This is a fine cherry from the forests to the northwest, and this is a sweetened blend from the south." Yeah.
I will try the second one.
Before you leave, I would like to give you our names so you can give them to the doctor. This, I point to Oldrad, is Oldrad Warmail. This, I point to Bivoj, is Bivoj Boarhunter. This is Leonard. I don't know what his appellation is, but he is Leonard. This is Claude Troubadour. He has a dog who is out in the stables right now. This is Bane. And I am Sarah Florian Marjit. Thank you for your hospitality.
Yes. Well, I am pleased to make your acquaintance and to be of service. And please, if you would like any of the beverages, the pipeweed, please feel free to stay here, relax, and the doctor should be along shortly. And the doctor did ask me, were any of you in need of dinner? There is food, and I can have dinner brought here to the parlor if you would like.
Oh,
Yes,
Yes.
please.
then
Yes.
we will appreciate this.
Superb. I will have some of the servants set a course for you. Thank you. And he bows and he walks out. He leaves the door open. You guys, make yourselves comfortable. And you notice that about 5 minutes later, 2 young serving boys come in, and they lay out this beautiful white tablecloth over a table. 2 more start bringing in chairs, and they basically set a dining table specifically for 6 people. 5 minutes after that, yes.
Excuse me, I say to one of the young boys, we didn't get the name of your steward. What is his name?
Oh, that is Mr. Ivan.
Mr. Ivan. Thank you so much, and thank you for this service here. This looks lovely.
And they kind of smile. They continue setting the table. Beautiful china, pristine silverware, gold threaded linen napkins, and then the food starts coming in, and you see like 4 of the kitchen staff start bringing in these platters of food. steaming hot. A huge bowl. They take like they don't take any of the lids off until you guys sit down. So does everybody sit down at the table? Okay.
Yep.
So
Well,
when you sit down,
I want to get people drinks. I'll get
well,
Claude. I'll get
Well-
Claude a whiskey. I'll get Veet a whiskey. I'll get Leonard some vodka. I'll get Bane the mead, and Oldrad. Do you want mead or something stronger?
Mead's fine.
Okay, I'll get him a mead, and I'll look for that special wine that we had at the inn that one time.
they do not have any of the brandy from Southport.
Okay, well, I'll just get a nice red wine.
Okay. So as you guys, have some drinks, they set this table, and it is after all the kitchen staff bring out all the stuff, you see a very well-dressed woman in all white enter, and she says, "Sirs and lady, if I may present the dinner." She says, "Tonight we have roasted pheasant. We have a tender beef flank." And then as she's saying this, the other kitchen staff are removing the lids, and this food's just steaming hot. She says, "We have a local medley of our freshly grown vegetables, including carrots, potato, leeks, and celeries, in a brown gravy that is simply exquisite. And that is the beginning of the first course. We will return after you have enjoyed your meal. If you are in need of anything, you may pull on that red velvet rope, and the kitchen staff will come and take care of your needs." And she bows, and the other kitchen members bow, and then they leave the room. She is the last one. She closes the doors, and you guys are in the room.
This is
Sarah,
wonderful. I love all this. Oh, this is great.
Sarah, this place is too fancy. I'm not sure it's in our budget.
Just don't make a mess, okay?
Leonard also gets suspicious because they might be expecting somebody else coming, and they might have swapped us, so he will be cautious of the food. But
No, this is leftovers from the main meal. Don't worry about it.
You get the impression that maybe Sarah's right. Upon finer examining, the pheasant was not whole. It was already carved, and the beef was also already carved. So it looks like maybe you guys are getting the leftovers or whatever they didn't use for the main dinner. But it is probably the finest meal that you've seen since you guys were greeted and feasted at Lee Castle, and probably even better than that. Sarah, when you dig in, you are immediately sent to your memories. This is the kind of food that your family would serve on special holy days, and when they had special guests. It is the meat is mouth-watering, well seasoned, melts in your mouth, tender. Some of you have probably never even had pheasant, so to eat it, you're like, "Oh, this is delicious." The vegetables are exquisitely flavored, not spicy, but just flavorful. So
just beware that don't eat too much, okay? Because this is very rich food, and it may not settle right in your
You
stomach.
say this as Oldrad has fucking two huge mouthfuls of meat. What?
And Bane has his face in his plate.
On behalf of Bane, I'm going to just say that he's eaten 2 plates full already. But there is more than enough for all of you guys. So about an hour goes by, and the kitchen staff comes in. Not the chef. She doesn't come in, but the rest of the kitchen staff comes in. And they begin, assessing if you're finished. They do ask if you'd like any more, but everybody's had ample food at this point. So they begin kind of cleaning up. The steward enters and he says, how did you enjoy your meal? Dr. Moskvin always takes care of his guests.
Amazing. Very delicious.
Mr. Ivan, this brought back memories. Good memories.
Absolutely my pleasure. I'm so pleased that you enjoyed the meal. And just so you know, I did speak with the doctor. He's having an after dinner aperitif with his guests, but he will be along shortly. And additionally, he did ask me to prepare rooms. So while you were enjoying your meal, the house staff was preparing your rooms. They will be ready after the doctor has seen you. So we are pleased to be able to have you as guests here at the manor. He says, please, feel free to enjoy the parlor, have a drink, have a smoke. The doctor will be along very soon. And he,
Mr. Ivan?
yes.
If it is appropriate, can you tell
Dr. Moskvin?
Actually, I changed my mind. Don't. It's okay.
As you wish. And he smiles again, bows. The kitchen staff finishes clearing everything, and by everything, I mean truly everything. Like the linens, the silverware, the plates, all that stuff. And then they take the chairs and the table out. The doors are open, not closed. And about another half an hour goes by. Or do any of you guys do anything specifically?
Just enjoy some of the pipe weed. Relax.
Okay.
I'll sip on some more wine.
Are there windows in the parlor?
Yes. They're very ornate, leaded windows. Not stained glass, just regular glass. With, beautiful red with silver lined curtains. And it's, you could peek out, and when you get closer to the windows, you see the torrential downpour of rain. The flash of lightning periodically. But it feels very nice and warm, with the fire going and the comforts of the parlor.
Part of the time, Leonard spends hypnotizing the storm outside. Just thinking.
Okay. A half an hour goes by. The steward enters, and he says, "Sirs and lady, I present to you Dr. Josef Moskvin," and he bows, and he holds his bow position, and you hear the clicking of heels. And then you see a striking man enter the room. He is 6'3", wearing high leather boots, kind of puffy pants, black pants, a white, perfectly pressed linen shirt, and a purple velvet jacket. He has thick gray hair that is like brushed back fully, and a gray beard, pointed, manicured, perfectly maintained, and striking blue eyes, like almost crystal bright blue eyes, like the color of a bright blue sky. And he enters and he kind of looks at all of you and smiles. And the steward, he looks to the steward and he says, "Thank you, Mr. Ivan. I appreciate your care for our guests." That is all. And Ivan nods and then resumes. Ivan goes out in the hallway, closes the doors. The doctor looks at you and he says, "My trusted guests, I assume that Ivan has taken care of all of your needs."
Well,
that he has.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, on behalf of my family, I would like to welcome you to Moskvin Manor. he says, I did not quite come to know how it is that you came to be here. I was not given that story, but I was told that you are in need of some medical attention, and I would be happy to provide services for you. Are any of you in imminent danger of infection or any sort of grave injuries?
This gentleman here, I will point to Claude and I will introduce him, was severely injured on our way here. Also, this gentleman, I point to Bivoj. Also, this gentleman, I will point to Oldrad, and this gentleman, I point to Bane. I am well,
I see.
and this is Leonard.
Yeah,
I
I'm
am-
also well. So,
I am Sarah Florian Marjit, and I go around the introductions again.
And Leno. I don't think we mentioned
Oh,
him.
Leno,
That's right.
sorry. And this is Leno. He is also well.
Okay, the doctor receives these introductions, and he says, perhaps then getting to know each other can wait until the morning. It would seem
Yes.
more urgent that we address your various medical conditions. So, if I may, I would like to see each one of you in my office, and the others who are not suffering from any injuries would be escorted to your bedrooms upstairs. And then in the morning, perhaps we can speak and learn more about each other. Yes?
Yes.
Very good. And you see he pulls the little rope, and a moment later, the steward enters, and he's Dr. Moskvin turns to him and he says, we will care for the patients tonight, and the ones who do not need my immediate attention, I would like you to please have the house servants escort them to their rooms, yes? And Mr. Ivan says, yes, of course, doctor. And he nods. Dr. Moskvin looks at you, Claude, and he says, sir, Claude, is it?
yes.
Please, come with me. And he kind of does a polite nod to the rest of you. And then he leads you, Claude, down that same hallway. And as you go down the hallway, you see another door to the right. The door is open, and he gestures to this room. You notice now at this point that the doors on the left seem to lead to the kitchens. And you hear the sound of, washing happening and some pots and pans and, things being clanked, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So he leads you into his office, and you notice that it's very well lit. There's a chandelier with 20 candles, and then the whole room is lined with sconces that all have small oil braziers, and you see mirrors on the wall adjacent to the oil braziers reflecting light. And you notice that the doctor says, he closes the door and he says, please, Claude, to remove your armor and your clothing, you can set them there on the bench. And then when you are ready, please to lay down on this table so I can examine your wounds. And he goes over to a counter while you're doing that, and you see him open up these cabinets, and you see just rows and rows of bottles and vials, all meticulously labeled. And you see a wash basin, and he pours a pitcher of water into the wash basin and begins washing his hands and dries them off on this clean white towel. And in short order, he examines your wounds. He begins to clean the wounds. He begins to apply ointments to the wounds. Make a wisdom roll for me.
Let's see. Wisdom
4.
Okay. So that is, you don't know what this medicine is that he's doing, but it definitely seems to kind of clean up the injuries that you had. On the areas where you were bitten by the direwolf, you notice he puts a different kind of procedure or preparation. It's more like a powder that he kind of sprinkles on and then sort of like rubs it in. And then after he's done with all these cleaning and applications, he bandages all of your wounds with like a clean white gauze. He goes over to a rope, pulls on the rope, and you see one of the house servants come in and he says, "Please, a clean robe for Mr. Claude, and then bring him to his room, and then you can bring his belongings there." The house servant does exactly that. They bring you a fine robe, which you put on, and then they gather all your belongings and they lead you up. So they go to the foyer, up the stairs, and down the hall, and the first room on the left, she opens up. She brings your items in there, sets them down on a bench. It's a very well appointed bedroom. There is a single, basically 4-poster king-sized bed in there.
Lentil soup.
Nightstands, like nightstands, dressers, an armoire. There's a window just like the one downstairs, kind of lead lined with beautiful thick red velvet curtains that are lined in silver. And she kind of shows you the layout of the room and then she leaves. Who else was on the wounded list? Let's see. Bane was. So Bane is led up next. The doctor does the same procedures, cleans up his wounds, applies ointments and powders, bandages everything, leads Bane off. So this procedure in total, because there are a lot of you that were wounded, 1, 2, 3, 4, takes 2 hours. The rest of you have the choice of either being led to your rooms or staying in the parlor and kind of relaxing, smoking a pipe, having drinks. So I'll ask each one of you, Sarah, since you are not wounded, do you want to stay in the parlor while the others are waiting for their turn with the doctor, or do you want to go to your room?
I will spend the time taking my armor off, and I will ask the house servant to take this to my room. You can escort me later.
Okay, they do.
Are there any crackers or little cakes or anything?
They do. They bring out cakes and fruit. They replenish any of the wine or other drinks that are needed. So that brings us to Leonard. Leonard, do you want to go to your room or stay in the parlor?
Are they? From my understanding, the other people in the house need to escort us there. So did they show us where it is, and gave us the option to return?
Yeah, they are definitely going to escort you when you are ready.
Okay, so I will wait for a rest to return. So we go in one group and just resting, a little bit of drinking and watching others and thinking.
Okay, very good. So 2 hours go by, everybody's been treated. All of you guys, unless you protest, are then led to your rooms. You are all on the second floor. There are doors across from each other. There are literally 6 rooms on this floor, and each one of you have your own private room. All of them are well adorned. Every one of them has windows. Everyone has armoires and dressers and nightstands and a 4-poster bed, fresh linens, best accommodations that you've had. Maybe since you were at the Cursed Chateau. But maybe even better than that.
I'm going to ask for a bath.
You are told that the bath will be provided to you. They will bring in the water and the bath basin.
I just don't want to get in the bed all messy.
Yeah. So. And, it takes like a half an hour because they have to boil water and all that stuff. Two of the stronger house servants bring in this bath. They pour some pitchers of water. It's not like a massive bath, but it's big enough for you to bathe yourself in. Clean, clean linens, towels, all that stuff. So they even have some oils for the bath to clean yourself. So anybody who wants a bath, they would do that, bring you a bath, and then they remove the bath before bed. All of the rooms have the rope pull, so if you need anything during the night servants can come and assist you. And basically, once everybody's bathed or ready for bed, Mr. Ivan comes to each of your rooms and he tells you if you have any need for anything. There are chamber pots in every room, but if you have any need for anything, please just pull the rope. The only request that the doctor has is that you not wander around the manor at night, because he does have other guests who are staying on the 3rd floor, and he would prefer to not have his other guests interrupted, their sleep interrupted or disturbed. And I wish you all a fantastic rest. Good night.
Thank you.
All of you go to sleep, unless you decide to do anything else. Speak now, or you will sleep a full rest.
Sleep.
Are there any books?
Not in your rooms, no.
Okay. Then I will, I will go to sleep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, also going to sleep.
Okay. I am updating something.
Is it the doom clock?
The doom clock has been updated. No, just
okay.
So all of you get the best sleep that you've had in a long time. You awaken around the same time, because you kind of hear like movement in the hallway outside. But more importantly, everyone who was wounded healed overnight. 20 of their missing hit points, which I have now updated. Oldrad, you are at 41 of your maximum. Bane is at 32 of his maximum. Bivoj, you're at 31 of your maximum. And Claude is at 29 of max. All of you feel so much better than you felt before. Just incredibly, a level of blessed that is, beyond calculation. Your wounds are much better, far less painful, and definitely healing. In whatever sense you felt that pain before, you are not feeling it as much. In the morning, you hear a gentle knock at each door, and it's like one of the young girls of the household. And in a very polite manner, she informs you that the breakfast will be served in just about a half an hour, and that she will return to escort all of you to the dining room for breakfast.
Is it okay to leave our road clothes here?
Okay. And if you would like your road clothes laundered, they can provide that service for you as well. If you check in your armoires and your dressers, there are clean clothes of all sizes and for all gender needs. Men's and women's clothes of multiple sizes.
We'll pick a nice dress.
Do you have someone that can repair some of my armor?
The girl, you ask the girl, and she tells you that she'll have to ask the steward. They don't have a blacksmith in-house. There is one who lives not far, and that they could send word, but she will have to ask Mr. Ivan regarding that query.
Okay.
I'll change and then kind of do like a morning thankful prayer towards the old gods, particularly Peshwick, and heal myself with my cure wounds for 12 hit points.
12 more gets you up to max. Actually, 11 more gets you up to max. So you have 1 more hit point to heal yourself with.
I thought.
Oh, you know what? Maybe I didn't.
That was my new one.
Yeah.
My new
You're
HP.
right. So you're at 53 now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, got it. All right. So anything else that anyone wants to do in terms of, preparations?
Well, Leonard tries to start the day with his old clothing, then goes into the basically the corridor between the sees Sarah in beautiful dress and decides to go back and change for the breakfast as well. And then
and I'm gonna try to fix up my hair a little nicer. I have already washed it. It's been a long time.
Okay. And, you guys take some time to kind of wake up, splash some water on your face. There are even some, there's like a little dressing table with some cosmetics and some colognes and perfumes that are provided at the dressing table.
And yep.
Want me to help you pick something out?
Oh no, I will just put on. He puts even though he puts on better clothing, it's not really properly tucked and stuff. So
well, I'll make sure he's all straightened out. Okay. Oh, that's much better.
Very good. Very good. So you guys are then kind of gathered about a half an hour later, and the housemaid leads you guys downstairs, down the long hallway, and at the end of the long hallway, she opens the door, and you see a very large room. This is a ballroom. There is a table with 32 chairs. And no one else is in this ballroom. The rest of the ballroom is just magnificently decorated. There is a huge open space, which you presume is, for dancing. And then there are kind of corners that have beautiful rugs with upholstered chairs seated around them. There are 2 fireplaces in this room. And you see some side doors that you presume are kind of for the servants to be able to get from the kitchen into the dining room without going down the main hall. You are then seated at one end of this massive table. About 5 minutes later, Mr. Ivan enters and he says, "Sirs and lady, Dr. Josef Moskvin." And he does the bow again. You hear the clicking of heels, and you see Dr. Moskvin enter. He's wearing like a different outfit. It's a little less formal. He has like a white shirt on with a, velvet kind of jacket, but not quite as fancy as what you saw him in the previous evening. Pants, leather shoes. He makes his way over to the table, and you see that Mr. Ivan's like walking to the opposite end of where you are, to the head of the table. And Dr. Moskvin says, "Ivan, I don't believe I'll need to sit at the head. I would like to sit closer to my guests such that we may have a reasonable conversation." And Ivan's like, "Yes, of course, doctor." And he pulls a chair out. So the doctor basically sits on one end of the table with you guys. And he sits down, and you see the servants kind of pour out of the side doors from the kitchens. They bring out fruit, fresh bread, cheese, cold cuts. That's the first course. And then they, goblets of wine, mead, you name it, they're having it, right? Then there's a course after the initial course with eggs and potatoes and sausages of 7 different kinds, and ham, all, freshly prepared. And during the course of this meal, the doctor wants to get to know you. So as all of this is being served and you guys are enjoying the meal, he begins by saying, "How are my patients? How are you feeling this morning?"
Much better, Doctor. Much better.
Invigorated.
Much better. Thank you for the help and service.
Excellent. It is
the most excellent service ever.
It is not only my pleasure, but my purpose, truly. I am fortunate to have had an education which was provided by the affluence of my family, to be able to study with some of the best healers, not just here in Piatra, but throughout the lands. And it's astounding how much knowledge is contained in various parts of the kingdoms. I did spend some time in the Western kingdoms, in Hazadas in the south, and they have an incredible knowledge, truly, of botany, specific to the medicinal herbs and derivatives of different plants. And he says, I will, of course, perhaps this afternoon, I will check on your wounds and provide some additional care to them. But I'm glad that you're all feeling better initially, the initial treatment. That is very important to me, that all of my guests are healthy and well cared for. He says, "Now, if I may, and please stop me if it is asking too much, but I am curious as to how you came to my manor. I'm going to make some assumptions. Some of you are not from the Eastern Kingdoms, so I'm curious to hear your tale."
Who wants to start?
Well, Sarah, I suppose you would be the best option.
Yeah, please, Sarah, start.
Well, as I said before, I'm Sarah Florian Marjit. My family once controlled the Marjit Trading Company. I understand that now it is on hard times. I worked for my family, guarding caravans, trade caravans and stuff like that. And I would take other work as it came up. And in that work, I got lost, and I found these wonderful gentlemen. We are friends now after, 2 months?
Something like that.
After 2 months in the borderlands together. We have had
the borderlands. And are the rest of you from the borderlands?
Yes, except for Leonard. You're from the Western Kingdoms, right, Leonard?
Southport.
Yeah, I'm from Southport.
Okay. We have had many adventures.
And you'll have to forgive me my curiosity. My family's holdings are rather remote. We do not get visitors typically from anywhere to the west, truly. Mostly, visitors from Piatra, or from time to time from the southern kingdom of Terestia, but yeah, not often from the west. So I'm curious, how fares the borderlands? I've heard rumors of the Western Empire expanding their reach, and but nothing more than rumors that are at best second or third hand.
Those rumors are indeed true. We have been witness to the expansion, to the gathering of low people. I noticed that traveling through this northern land, which I've never been up here before, even though I'm from the Eastern Kingdoms, that there are no there are no low people. We came in contact with few, if any, low people. We know that low people are gathering up by Lee Castle in the Borderlands, and the Western Empire is making steady progress up the river from Southport. And when we left, they were about to get to Lee Castle. It is very bitter for the people there. I am excited to go to my home in Buza and Favaros and possibly reunite with some of my family.
Well,
and then I just look down.
I appreciate you sharing this information, though I will share that it does not bode well. We in the Eastern Kingdoms are rather sovereign. And over the years, as the Empire has expanded, it has not been easy to accept. The union of the Western Kingdoms with the Western Church seemed initially to be a beneficial thing. They were benevolent, especially after the Great Storms, and they were crucial to helping to rebuild so much of what was lost. Their outreach to the Borderlands initially was an act of benevolence. They rebuilt towns, they resupplied, they provided food in desperate times and healing to those in need. But I feel that over the years, their benevolence has turned into a mechanism for control, as those who they assisted became dependent on their assistance. And as much as the Borderlands have historically been independent of any kingdoms, they became dependent on the supplies and the assistance of the Empire, which that dependence came with a great price. And I believe that price has been their autonomy.
Well, there were this time bigger issues. They were, at least now, I think now they will be part of the Empire. But right before that, they were severely weakened by somebody who managed to organize actually a large warhorde of low people. So they might have been sabotaged.
He says, I'm sorry, I may have misunderstood. Did you say someone organized a horde of low people? That is unheard of.
I would like to have made this up, but we saw it.
In a sense, we found a group of enhanced ordure, much bigger and much stronger than the usual ones, and they were fairly well armed, and as it seemed, it was a bit too much for a coincidence that those low people gathered in such a large horde that we've never seen here for maybe even millennia. And the Western Kingdom marching towards the north of the Borderlands. It doesn't seem to be that much of an accident. And
I find that
yeah,
mind-boggling. I've not. Simply the use of the word organized in conjunction with low people is unheard of. We do have problems from time to time in this region with the low people who occupy and move about amongst the mountains and the foothills, certainly, but they are primitive at best, and to even consider them being organized is nearly unfathomable.
Even on our way through the hills, we found some. I think it was Ordur tracks. So they're probably even here, and it's not too far-fetched to think about their organized raids to the settlements in the north of the borderlands, around the Lee Castle and around Yaghmour and the other hamlets. In terms of who's ordering them, not if, but who. That is the question, and our suspicion so far is, or at least my suspicion, I can't speak for my compatriots, but it may be the works of the Western Church, or some forces in the Western Church. From what we've uncovered and from some people we encountered, it may be so.
He says that is certainly a theory that I have never heard of, but given what you've shared with me, it does raise questions. And he looks at Claude at this point and he says, "You'll forgive me, but Ivan told me that when you first arrived, he noticed that you bore the crest of Lee Castle on your armor."
Yes.
What as the bastion of sovereignty in the borderlands, what manner of fate now is held for Lee Castle with regard to this imperial push?
I feel the worst for my Lord Lee. It was my understanding that they were basically planning to surrender. There was basically no defending the castle, defending our lands. It was pointless to even try and fight and just put all the soldiers and probably the civilians as well to death.
A difficult quandary indeed. I would say that were I in such a position and I had to choose between the common folk who lived and worked on our lands, I would have to choose this as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
No noble house can exist without the support of the common folk.
Mm-hmm.
And I consider myself fortunate that I was left the titles and lands that I was left, despite my family not being amongst the most wealthy of the noble families, and our lands certainly in far more precarious locations than others to the east. Not many of the noble families who once held lands along the foothills retain those lands because of frequent problems with low people and with, in some regards, with the wild folk. But in recent years, the problems have grown far worse. Monstrosities from the mountains have come down in recent times in ways that have not been heard of in centuries.
We encountered a few that
Well,
partially
our most recent injuries, thanks again for helping me with those injuries, came as we came through these foothills, and we came across a huge, strange insect. And after that, we came across what we thought was just one giant. It turned out to be two giants and a dire wolf. And he got me. It's by the blessings of Oldrad and his god Peshwick that I got brought back. But
I'm sorry.
Did you really say that?
You'll have to forgive me.
The man of science.
Did you perhaps mention something about Oldrad and one of the old gods?
I look over to Oldrad.
But it's not only that.
Sure. I'm just a simple.
All of you
simple
make a
soldier.
wisdom roll. All right, those of you who got a 12 or 13, is that your primary?
No.
You can't really tell what his expression is. It seems kind of neutral.
But it's not only that. The common people themselves are disappearing. We found very few that had been killed. They just seem to have walked off the land. The farms were being raided, and the people seem to have been taken away. We don't know where.
I have heard rumors of refugees from the borderlands. Some who, for reasons that now make much more sense based on what you've told me, some who traveled through the perilous mountains to get away from whatever had been afflicting the borderlands. And now, given the context that you provided, this does make quite a bit of sense. Word has spread that in both cities as large as Nikovala and smaller villages and towns such as Grau and Trock, that there have been refugees from the borderlands. So it does make sense that even as far as Barkamika, there have been people, mostly common folk, and as I've come to understand it, some of the priests and monks of the Eastern Church have been trying to assist refugees with their travels to the Eastern Kingdoms, as well as their efforts to find asylum in the Eastern Kingdoms. I have not had any travelers pass this way other than you. You were the first group to come this way. And I'm assuming that that's most likely because the route that you traveled was hazardous.
Very.
Given what you've told me of monstrous insects and giants and wolves and other challenges and low people.
That's not everything. Even the wild folk, they have their problems as well. We've encountered a group of wild folk, and they were pestered by some kind of demon that we fought. And what we got from the place that we encountered the demon in, the demon was sealed there, and somebody relatively recently broke the seal that bound him. So yeah, like, there are problems everywhere, and as it seems, it's doing of some higher evil power. Even in the Western Church, from what we've got, there are some not very pleasant groups or group that may have taken over the Western Church. Or at least that's my assessment of the situation. And that might be the case why the Western kingdoms lost their sovereignty with their affiliation with this group over the time.
I'm curious about this theory that you have. Perhaps after breakfast, those of you who, and you'll forgive me, I do not mean to be insulting, but those of you who are literate, perhaps you'd like to join me in my library. You've raised some questions that make me wonder if there are any precedents for any of these things that you've mentioned, that perhaps in some of my histories we could discover if there are any sort of events which might correlate or explain these things that are happening.
From what we've got, it may also have connections to the last storms. And that's more concerning.
I was a young man doing my studies in Hazidas at the time of the great storms of the year 1120. Fortunately, the monastery in which I was studying was situated along a cliff, high above the sea line. But the storms, even then, completely wiped out the coastal village below the monastery. They were terrifying, the impact of the waves, the ocean waves themselves, not to mention the flow of water and the flash flooding. It is not something that I will ever forget.
Do you have any records here from that time?
I do have some books which recount various histories from throughout the lands of Doreguteon, but there are so many different accounts. The ways in which the storms affected the different regions was varied, but one thing connected everything, that no matter where you were in the lands, the storms had an impact in some fashion. Even the monastery in which we stayed was not impervious, because although we survived, everything around us had been destroyed. The supplies of food in the monastery ran out rather quickly and had to be rationed. And the roads leading up the mountain were completely washed away. So the staff of the monastery and the monks had to work diligently to create a series of paths to get back down the mountain, which took weeks. And then even then, there was no way that a carriage or even horses could descend. So we had to climb down using a series of ropes and pulleys. It was a terrible time. And then just the devastation and the aftermath was much of what I learned about the healing arts quickly became a hands-on lesson as myself, the other students, the monks and the priests began traveling just in the vicinity of the south of Hazidas in order to care for the injured and care for those who had become sick from the poisoned water supplies and the rampant disease which was spreading from all of the bodies that were simply rotting.
We've heard that some people who disappeared during these storms started to reappearing about 2 months ago. Have you encountered some of these stories?
What do you mean reappearing? I'm not sure of what you speak.
All right. Good.
Oldrad, why don't you handle that one? Or not?
No.
My good
Yeah.
lord, I'm sorry,
Bivoj.
I'm not literate, but just in case, in your library, are there any books that transcribe the history of the beginning of the storms?
There are some accounts, yes. I
And
have
are
some
there
books that I have collected over the years that
and just
are essentially the accounts of different people.
just
Some
by
of those are from the west, some of them from the borderlands. One is from Southport. A few are from the eastern kingdoms.
just by a chance, is there some kind of, I would say, mention of the raid on a Black Tower at the beginning of the storms? Large military group led by the nobles.
Not that I recall, but that doesn't mean that there aren't such accounts. Let me suggest this, friends. As we are concluding our breakfast, perhaps take some time, digest, return to your rooms if you need to rest a little more, and then I will send the house staff to retrieve you in, say, an hour's time, and you can all join me in the library, and we can together perhaps explore some of these questions.
I will gladly join you.
I hope there are a lot of pictures.
Very, very well. Then let us adjourn, and please have a rest, and I will meet with you again soon. He stands, he leaves, the house servants escort you guys back to your rooms. You have an hour of time to kill.
Meeting, my room.
Sarah calls a meeting in her room.
Huddle.
Let's go there. Yeah.
You should note that all of your traveling clothes were taken and washed, and they are now dry and pressed and laid out on the dressers in your rooms. You were all in Sarah's room. What do you want to discuss?
Luckily, we did. I was able to change the subject, and the doctor told his story. So maybe that's okay. Thoughts, everybody.
How much is this going to cost us?
We'll probably offer to do a favor.
For the
Like we
healing
did
he
for
did,
the
it will
others.
be a big favor.
Yeah. And
I'm willing to work on his land. I have some experience with that. Others, we'll just see. We can speak to him later.
I'm not tiling the fields.
So when I had you guys make that wisdom roll after Claude mentioned Oldrad and Peshwick, I know Sarah and Oldrad, you did not have wisdom as a primary, right? Bivoj, what did you get on that roll?
19. And I do have wisdom as my primary.
Okay. So Bivoj, what you would have noticed is that when the doctor heard that and asked for clarification, and you guys kind of dodged that, you notice that his reaction was not negative. It wasn't like shock, but it also wasn't positive. It just seemed kind of neutral and yet curious.
Noted.
At this point in your room and your discussion, Lino speaks up and he says, I'm not so sure that this doctor is going to expect any compensation from any of us. And he kind of looks around the room at you guys and he's like, I don't think that he's the kind of doctor who needs to charge money. I'm pretty sure he's quite well off. And he looks around the room and he's like,
just a little.
I'm very curious about this library. I would love to peruse whatever books he has. And I think my feeling is at least that so far I haven't seen anything from this doctor or his staff that would lead me to a position of mistrust.
Wish you could teach me how to read books.
I could try. It would take some time.
Okay, I'm interested.
As am I.
I would be the. You don't understand, guys. I would be the first in my family.
Well,
I suggest that at some time, perhaps this evening, when we are sitting alone with the doctor, we tell him our secret. And I look significantly at everybody.
Well,
Lino looks at Oldrad and then looks back at Sarah, but doesn't say anything.
I think he's in similar position as Lord Lee was at the Lee Castle when we first came, but he doesn't have armies at his doors, which is better position.
I prefer not to widely tell people about my faith that don't need to know, and I don't really think this doctor needs to know, though he's kind of been tipped already.
I'm not talking about that secret.
I know that. I know what you're talking about, Sarah, but I'm talking about a different issue at the moment.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Bivoj just looks.
Lino asks for clarification from Sarah. He says, do you mean you would share with the doctor your temporal experience with the storms?
I'm not sure yet. And I look at Claude and I say, you dodged an arrow there.
I would stick to that it's a rumor that we heard that basically what happened to us, or happened to somebody else, and we are just investigating because we are curious.
And we did hear about the same thing happening to others before, so that is kind of valid.
You have heard other rumors about that. So as you guys are discussing this, about, unless there's anything else specific, about an hour later, there's, you guys are called. The servant girl leads you downstairs and back into the ballroom. And then to the right, she leads you down the hall. Sorry, not down the hall, through the ballroom, and you see another door. So on the opposite side of where the kitchens are. And she knocks twice on the door, and you hear the voice of Dr. Moskvin say, "Come in." And she opens the door and gestures for you guys to go on. While you were in the ballroom, you saw that all of the servants in the house were working in the ballroom. You saw them setting the table. You saw them cleaning. You saw them clearing out some space. And you saw a group of the men bringing in wooden sections like risers and setting them up in an area in the room. You also see them bringing in candelabras, like that standing kind of candelabras on the floor, setting candles in those. They're doing a lot of cleaning and preparation and setting up. When you enter the library, you see a room that is a little bit bigger than the parlor was. It's about a 20 by 30 room. Floor to ceiling built-in shelving, loaded with books. 2 long tables with comfortable upholstered chairs around them, and then kind of a sitting area for reading with like candelabras adjacent for lighting. There's a fireplace. There are more windows in this room than there were in any of the other rooms. So there are 4 windows on the same wall that exterior wall that you guys saw the parlor. So there's a lot of natural light. Like the drapes are open. There's a lot of natural light. And on top of all of that, 2 hanging candelabras over each of the tables, and the sconces on the walls that have the oil with mirrors reflecting light. And you notice Dr. Moskin greets you and he says, "Welcome to my humble library. I can give you an overview of the organization." He says, "On the southern wall is primarily histories and books of religious dogma and doctrine." He says the eastern wall tends to focus on practical economics, as well as the various sciences, the natural sciences, biology, botany, chemistry, and many of our understandings of the cosmos. And then, he kind of gives you this tour. He's like, here's personal biographies, noble families, histories of the Eastern Kingdom, histories of the Western Kingdoms, and basically gives you this like categorical tour of the library.
Are there any books for the beginners?
He smiles. He says, "If I had children, there would be, but alas, I am
maybe one day
the only member of my noble family, and I am as of yet unmarried. Though, who knows? I like to be optimistic. Perhaps there would be a noble family with a fine daughter who would like to marry into my house. But as of yet, I do not have children."
Are there like something written on the spines of the book, or are they blank and you need to go through the category and see if they are?
Some of them have spines, but a lot of them don't. A lot of them are just leather bound or hard bound books where you would have to pull them off the shelf and look at them. But he gives you the basic categories, and he asks you if you have need of anything, simply to pull on the velvet rope.
Thank you.
He tells you that he's going to be back. He's going to come back, and he's very curious about looking through the historical books and looking for accounts of the storms, but that he has to check in with Ivan and the chef and a couple of the other key staff members because this evening he is having a special event. He's hosting a masquerade ball. And he tells you that he would be more than happy to have you present at the masquerade ball, that he even has costumes and masks if you so desire, and the house servants can assist you with those. So he tells you that he needs to go, check in, but he'll be back shortly.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Leonard starts to going basically through recent history and tries to find records about 10 years old.
So there are a few books that have some recent histories, which would include the time of the storms. So basically we'll consider recent histories to be anything within the last 20 years to the turn of the century. So effectively like anything from 1100 till, or the early 1100s to the present.
Yeah, and that's where he will start.
And this year is 1134, correct?
Yes.
Are those books in the language I understand? Because I'm not sure I'm familiar with these.
So Dorian is the common language of the lands. Some of his books are in fact in High Dorian, which I believe you are fluent in.
Yeah.
So that's another option, but it seems like most of the books are in Dorian. A few of them are in High Dorian, but the ones that are in High Dorian tend to be more about religion and the histories of the church. And most of those tend to be about the history of the Eastern Church. Some of his medical books and biology and science books are also in High Dorian. So you begin kind of exploring some of the recent histories. Who else is literate in the party? Okay, Sarah, what are you looking into?
I'm looking to see what little information there is about the Marjits.
Okay, so more specifically, noble families of Charestia, of the Southern Kingdom.
Yeah.
All right. Make a, you know what? I'll have you make an intelligence roll.
Okay, so let's see what we get. Okay. I actually had more, but what I actually rolled was a -1. So I don't think I found anything.
Okay.
Which is fine. After a time of doing that and realizing that I can't find anything, I'll go to the economics section.
Well, it's not that you can't find anything. It's just that you look through some of the books and there's not specific information about the noble families of Charestia. Now, point of order, for the rest of you who are not literate, let me think about this.
Bill's frozen again, so...
For the rest of you who are not literate, many of these books still have illuminations. They have pictures. Is there anything that you guys would look through or want to look through that might have, pictures, illuminations?
Maybe those those symbols we saw in our visions, and or the picture of the tower that we saw in the flashback. Something like that.
I will attempt to look for anything relating to old gods.
Yeah,
with pictures.
Leonard
And,
actually lit things, stops, tries to recreate the runes for Iam and Ziv, hands it to Oldrad and says, try to find something like that maybe? And returns to his search.
Okay, so...
And I tell Oldrad to bring the books to me so I can help him figure out what's in them.
Okay, so what I'm going to say is, I'm going to collectively, if you guys are kind of, I'll say the people who are not literate can be like helpers, right? So you're looking for symbols that Leonard has sketched out or pictures that might resonate with what you're looking for, and then you're bringing them to the people who are literate and you're doing that kind of research. With that in mind, what I'll do is have Martin, Leonard is going to make another intelligence roll with a +2 to your roll.
Well, with the 1 on the die, that's 6 in total.
Oh my god.
I got a nat 1 also, I feel ya.
So it's not the end of the world. I mean, basically, even with the way I'll narratively describe this is that there are so many books, right? And it's not that you guys don't find things, but you don't find specific references to the old gods. You find references, right, in some of the church history books to, worshipers of the old gods who were conducting, rituals and dangerous experiments with magic, and the church had to vanquish them. And even there's a relatively decent quality book which has references to another book, and in those references it describes some of the historical events in which the churches, either of the churches, or in some cases both of the churches, had major efforts to quell practitioners of the old gods. And one of those was an event that happened in the year 569, and it went on for 14 years, from the year 569 to 583, and the event was called the First Purge. And it was a significant event because it brought both the Western and the Eastern churches together to hunt down heretics and practitioners of forbidden magic. And it was kind of a major unifying thing that had happened after the schism between the church, when the churches split from the Western and Eastern. And what you find out is that the purge started in the West, and there was an order within the church that was created, and that order was created specifically to identify and root out practitioners of forbidden magic. And this order was called the Inquisitors. It doesn't go into great detail about the Inquisitors. It kind of sounds a little bit vague, but essentially the Inquisitors had identified enough of a problem with heresy and witchcraft that the churches came together, initially under the authority of the Western Church, to begin this purge. And there was a whole, series of passages in which it described the process of the Inquisitors identifying heretics and witches, and then the authorities of the church hunting down the heretics and the witches, the judicial side of it, the courts and the judgments, and then ultimately, in the most severe cases, that there was a public execution in one of four ways: either beheading, hanging, drowning, or burning.
Yikes.
And in the early years of the First Church, most typically the accused were commoners and rural folk. And many of the accounts indicate that these folk seemed to have no remorse for their beliefs, but also many of them were not even literate and couldn't even identify the names of the gods that they worshipped. But that as the 14-year period of time during the purge occurred, that even some noble houses were found to be participants in the old beliefs. Typically lower noble houses, not so much like the higher noble houses, or sometimes the progeny, the children of leaders of higher noble houses, were found to be dabbling in devilry. Oh, that's a good name for an adventure, dabbling in devilry, I should say. And that they're, ultimately at the conclusion of the purge, the Western Church had really gone deeply into the purge, more so in the Eastern kingdoms, and that this kind of changed the whole dynamic of the church. In addition, you discover that in later periods of history, there were other events similar. In 932, there was a second purge, and from 932 to 939 for a 7-year period, the second purge occurred, and it pushed not just in the western kingdoms, but the borderlands and even Southport and part of Charestia. So these, historical discoveries kind of related to the old gods, they don't mention specific old gods, but they kind of recount how in the history of the lands, there were these efforts that were brought together. In addition to that, there's some accounting in the late 800s, like in the year 895, was when the Western Church began to anoint noble houses. So specifically, some noble houses were found to be loyal to the one true God, and they were anointed and basically given a special designation by the Western Church. And a year later, in 896, the Eastern Church began to do that with specific noble houses. And these were typically the high noble houses. And it was not common for lower noble houses to be anointed.
Interesting.
I think at the end of this, Leonard is completely overwhelmed and taking from book to book. So
yeah, and I'm summarizing what takes you guys a couple hours, right? You also learn about, again, there's a couple references to the old gods, but not related to the purges, but rather to holy wars. So earlier in the history, in the year 513, there was a 9-year period from 513 to 522 in which the first holy war took place. And that was more to deal with low people and monsters. And that period of time was also kind of a period of time in which throughout the lands, in the Western kingdoms, the Eastern kingdoms, and even the borderlands, where forces rallied under the faith to fight against hordes of low people. And in some accounts, even some monsters that were attributed to manifestations of the old gods. And then there was a second holy war that lasted even longer, for a period of 22 years, from 792 to 814, in which there's accounts of monsters coming from the mountains to the north into the borderlands, and both the eastern and western kingdoms being assailed, from these hordes of monsters and the low people. So you kind of learn about these different significant events. And, in Leonard, in your explorations of the more recent histories, you find that just before the turn of the century, beginning in around 1096, for a period of 11 years until 1107, there was a rise in the number of Ordur hordes. The population of Ordur, and in addition, the growth of other low people had hit this peak during that 11-year period. And the amount of attacks and raids on trade routes, overland trade routes, roads, and even communities, settlements, villages that were near the foothills or the mountains had increased tremendously. And so you get a lot of the history between 1096 and 1107 of the rise of the Ordur hordes.
Okay. So from this text, it would seem that most of the time the low people actually were naturally tending toward hordes, because there were 1, 2, 3 big wars against such hordes. So this Actually, it's looking stranger that there was no big horde between for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, based on the histories, with the Holy Wars, it seems like every few centuries, the population of low people becomes large enough that they become a threat, and then in reaction to that, there's some kind of response, whether that was from the churches or from the kingdoms themselves, or in some cases from a combined effort.
Okay. So, Leonard tries probably horribly present all the stuff.
Yeah, and you guys, kind of spend the rest of the morning, in the library. At a certain point, Dr. Moskvin would return, and he would be helping you with your queries. But he also, amongst his books, and he knows his library pretty well. And I got a 19 on his roll, so he definitely, succeeded in terms of his research, but he does not find anything in his library related to any sorts of events historically that would explain any of the questions or theories that you have. And he definitely doesn't find anything that supports the conspiracy theory that there's some part of the church or of the empire that would have cultivated an Ordur horde or been connected to an Ordur horde. If anything, he finds the opposite. He finds that the Western Church, even before the formation of the empire, was the bastion that stood against any kind of hordes of the low people or any kind of uprisings of the low people.
Yeah, could just be two horrible coincidences. The church is subjugating the borderlands, and now there's a horde at the same time. Just happens to be happening.
Actually,
he's still very suspicious of that coincidence, but from his learning in library, there's nothing to support that conspiracy theory, and yet he still finds it quite suspicious.
Yeah.
From the history, it actually seems that the Western Church would try to actively challenge the horde.
Let's hope they did in the defense of Lee County.
Do you have anything pertaining to metallurgy?
Oh God.
Yes, I believe I do. In the natural sciences, and he you see he's excited when you ask that question, and he walks over to the natural sciences and he starts pulling out books, and he's like, metallurgy. He's like, yes, I believe this volume focuses on some. Here's a trade volume on the which focuses on blacksmithing, weaponsmithing, and armor crafting, and there's another one that focuses on useful minerals and the in building.
Perhaps there are books that are on very obscure old metals from perhaps Nargenheim,
and also metal deposits in the north of the borderlands.
Yes, well, there are some geology books that may be of service, and he kind of goes in. So he basically pulls out 6 books from the shelves and lays them out on the tables. And
do you have maps of the holdings of other nobles from the west, from the kingdoms?
I do have some maps included. Yes, there are some maps that I do have. Yes, he goes over to another shelf, and these are all flat shelves. Most of the books are laid out flat, but the maps are on these longer shelves that have kind of a deeper recess. So he starts to kind of pull out some tubes and then takes the leather caps off and gently, kind of pulls the map out and unrolls it on the other long table.
Okay. I am looking for the holdings of the Nicolos.
That would be, he says, well, what So is that Eastern, Western Kingdoms, Southport? What would that family be?
Are
I'm
they
not
Eastern?
familiar with that family.
Northwestern.
Oh, they're Northwestern.
Yeah, remember they had those mines up by Lee Castle? They had, and in the west, they had some mines.
Okay. I thought they were an Eastern family for some reason.
Well, I had opined that Nicovala was named after the Nicolos, but I don't know that.
Okay.
I say that out loud.
He not knowing, he says, not having any context. Perhaps what I should do is let me find some maps that split up the lands so that you can reference the Western Kingdoms, the Borderlands, and the Eastern Kingdoms, and some books that might correlate with what you're looking for. That's not my particular field of interest. I tend to be more involved in the sciences and the medicinal arts as well, but let me kind of pull some options that might help you.
One more thing, a book of heraldry.
Yes, well, that would be included with these books. And so he starts to kind of lay out some maps and some books with each map, so you have kind of regional stuff. And then you notice Ivan come in, and he's like, "Pardon the interruption, Doctor. The question regarding the guest arrival," he's like, I may need you to clarify that so we can coordinate appropriately. And the doctor's like, "Yes, of course." He's like, "Excuse me again, my friends. I must attend to matters related to tonight's masquerade ball." So he leaves again.
Okay, B-Boy, look through this book and find any heraldic quest with lightning bolts in it. Okay? There'll be pictures, okay? Crests are like pictures. You've seen like the one on Claude's.
I can read pictures. That's no problem.
Very good. And I'll look at the maps, try to find the Nicola holdings.
All right, you begin researching this.
Leonard, after history lesson, tries to brush on the metallurgy, probably look if some kind of metal similar to what Bane's sword is made of, or the discs, is described there.
Go ahead and make another roll. You get a +2 because you have illiterate people helping you with pictures.
That would be 18 total.
Okay. You indeed, after some time, find some references to the metallurgical advancements of Nargenheim. There are references to the steel in which many of the structures were reinforced, being of a peculiar alloy, which seemed impervious to weathering, and oftentimes stronger and more durable than the steel crafted in Doreguteon. That many of their structures, the skeleton, if you will, of those structures had these steel supports, and that, that their castles, their buildings, their towers were then able to be much larger than any of the architecture found in Doreguteon. Taller towers, wider domed, ceilings that could not have been built with simple stone and masonry, and wooden supports were then, able to be done. And it really just focuses on the architecture, but you get the impression that this metallurgical advancement certainly was something that was said to be in Nargenheim.
So like heating temperatures, melting points and stuff are not there.
Yeah, the exact science is not in this accounting. And I'll also note that the specific book in which you find this is in fact in High Dorian.
Okay.
In the ancient language.
Well,
what the rest of you are looking at with regard to what Sarah was looking for, Lino can assist you. Okay. Lino got a 14. So he assists you, but he doesn't find anything specific. Sarah, as you are going through this, you've got these maps, you've got these books. Go ahead and make your roll. You get a +2 to your roll.
Okay, I hope I roll halfway decent this time. 16.
That's your total is 16?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have intelligence as a primary?
Yes, I added all that up.
Okay. So you don't find anything about the Nicolo family. You reference Southport, you reference the Western Kingdoms, you even reference the Eastern Kingdoms, and there's nothing in any of these things about the Nicolo family.
Must be looking in the wrong place.
As extensive as his library is, it doesn't mean it's like, you know,
encyclopedic. Yeah.
Right. It's not like a temple library in a city. I mean, he has an impressive library, and it's probably better than the library at Lee Castle, but it's not, you know, it's not like if you went to a capital city where they had a temple and you were able to get access to the temple library, that would be even more in depth.
Well, I think I'm spent for today in this.
Bane,
Shall we
you're
prepare
looking
for
for
the
cookbooks? You find some cookbooks, and all of them have pictures, like hand-drawn illustrations.
I'll carefully roll up the maps. I don't want to put them away because I don't know where they go. And I'll stack the books neatly in piles by subject.
Okay.
And
as you guys are like concluding, the doctor returns and he says, "My friends, I hope that this time in the library has been helpful." He says, "Ivan is going to bring you to lunch shortly. We'll serve lunch in the parlor as the ballroom is being prepared for tonight. And then after your lunch, if you'd like to retire to your rooms and relax, you're more than welcome to do that. This evening, for the masquerade ball, Ivan will send a few of the house servants to your rooms with appropriate costumes and help you get dressed and prepared for the event this evening. If you have need of anything else, you can always pull the rope and a servant will attend to your needs. But as for myself now, I must go make some preparations before some of my guests begin arriving. So I look forward to seeing you tonight, although we won't know who's who because we'll all be wearing masks and costumes, but it'll be such fun to participate, and the entertainment is going to be quite exquisite. I have a troupe of professional performers coming from the capital of Nikovala who will be performing this very evening for us. So I hope you like music and dancing and wondrous food and drink, because tonight is going to be quite a celebration.
Will anyone be arriving from farther south?
I have invitations that have been responded to, and the farthest south that I have guests coming from is a few guests will be coming from the city of Puteri, and a few from Voika, and even a few from Fovaros, who will be joining us. And some of those guests will be arriving imminently, as they have been on the road and they wanted to arrive early in order to freshen up prior to the masquerade. So, and hopefully it will be quite a festive event. Of course, I have a number of guests who will be coming from the capital, from Nikovala, and as well from some of the smaller villages from Barkamika, Trok, and Grau. So it should be quite a festive event. But I must leave you now, but I look forward to celebrating with you this evening, my friends. And he bows and he kind of leaves the room. Ivan comes.
Thank you, Doctor.
Ivan comes and retrieves you guys, brings you down the hall through the ballroom. You see that, more things are being set up in the ballroom. You notice that there's like a few servants that are hanging kind of these small silver baubles that are kind of glass and silver, kind of near the candelabras to sort of reflect light, and they make these cool prisms of color. He leads you down the hall, takes you to the parlor, and in short order, the table is set for you guys. You guys enjoy another lunch, which is just sumptuous. Just all sorts of wonderful gravy and meat and vegetables and fresh steaming hot bread, cheese. So you guys have this great lunch, and after that, and drinks. After that, you're taken back to your rooms. You guys can relax. You have some time. Is there anything specific as a group that you want to do before the servants come to get you dressed for the masquerade?
Well, I at least want to go and visit Critter
Okay.
and stretch my legs in the garden, I suppose.
After the storm last night, you guys, when you go out there, Claude, you see that, the sun's out. It's a nice day, but the grounds are still very saturated and muddy. You make your way down to the stables, and you notice that the stable boy plus another stable hand are very busy. And you see that they have set up a fence outside of the barn in which they have moved your horses. And you notice that they're kind of cleaning up in the stables, and you see that there are basically
preparing for the arrivals.
Yeah, preparing for the arrivals. You see Critter kind of hanging out there. There's a water bowl and another bowl next to it that has some scraps of meat from the kitchens. And he seems to just be sitting on this kind of wooden porch just outside of the side of the stables, kind of basking in the sun. And he looks up at you when you come and he wags his tail.
Here, boy.
He gets up slowly and kind of stretches, and then he walks over to you.
I've been down and pat him on the head, and how have they been treating you? Come on, let's walk.
Okay. So you walk around the grounds, extensive. You see, as I mentioned, there's an outbuilding that's basically the servants' quarters. And it's, it looks like it's in good condition. And you see servants kind of coming and going from the quarters and back to the main house, but they don't go through the main entrance. You notice that there's a side entrance around by the kitchens, and that's where they seem to go in and out of.
Mm-hmm.
You also notice that next to that side entrance to the kitchen is a storm door, like a set of double doors that have stairs that go down into the cellars. And as you're passing by, you notice a strong, one of the servants, like carrying up a barrel, presumably of some kind of wine or beer. And he's carrying it up from the cellar to, into the kitchens.
Yeah. As I'm going around, I'm trying to see if there's any like symbols that we were looking at in the library, if there's any of those on the outside of the building or noticeable in the garden.
The building is pretty clean. Like, it doesn't have like ivy growing up the walls. Even like along the base of the stone, there isn't any moss. It looks like it's pretty regularly brushed clean. And you don't see any symbols. And in fact, one thing that you notice as you're kind of walking around is you also don't see what you might commonly see above the doors, which is the depiction of the face of the one true God. Like the symbol of the one true God of the, the bearded man. You don't see that.
Okay. making my way back to the porch where Critter was.
Okay, you do.
And
It's followed
I
you.
want to approach one of the stable boys.
Okay.
Oh, thank you, my dear son, for taking care of my guard dog here.
Miles, he's like, he's a good boy. I gave him some of the scraps from breakfast, and he ate everything.
Well, he's well trained. He's my canine companion. But if I may, this doctor, he's a really nice guy. Is he good to work for?
Oh yes. He is, even though he's a noble lord, he never makes us refer to him as my lord. He always insists that everyone just call him doctor.
Okay. Because even though we just met and we have talked, but we haven't been into his history. Do you know anything about him?
Well, I mean, I was born here. I grew up here. But you know, my father and his father before him were all, you know, servants here for the doctor's parents. My father was born here.
So
you may have seen my father's the strongest of the servants on the land here. You might have seen him. His name's Olaf.
Okay.
He was out working the lands and gathering more firewood and chopping wood for the fires tonight.
Mm-hmm.
But he looks up, he's like, but the weather looks pretty clear. I don't think we're going to have storms tonight.
I hope so. Those aren't fun.
No, they sure aren't.
I've been through a storm or two in my day, and they're not fun to walk around in.
He's like, I was born in the year when the big storms happened. I'm 14.
Okay.
I was born in 1120.
Does that click somewhere in my mind?
Yeah, that was the year that the big storms happened.
Yeah.
14 years ago.
That's when I jumped from my timeline in the League Castle.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's like, well, sirs, if there's anything else I could do, let me know. But otherwise, I have to fill these troughs with some fresh water for the horses, and guests are going to be arriving soon. Mr. Ivan told us that we had to have the stables cleaned out and ready to go.
Yeah, that's what I understood. There's more guests coming soon. So, well, thanks, and I believe Critter will be in good hands with you for now.
Sure
thank
will.
you, my boy. And I bid farewell and head back in.
He does like a peasant's bow, like overly formal.
Oh,
as if you were like a general.
Yeah.
You return to the manor. The rest of you relax in your rooms. You know, Claude, you get back to your room, and a couple hours later, you all receive knocks at the door. House servants have a bundle which contains a few options for your costume and a few options for your masks. So basically, each one of you can kind of pick a mask. The masks are leather masks, so they either come in the half mask option, where it obscures your upper face, or the full mask option, or there's even some masks that are like 3/4, where they go around the top, the bottom, and the sides, and then they tie in the back. So you can all think about what kind of mask you want and what color costume you want. And the rest of us will find out on the next episode of The Lamenters when we have a masquerade ball. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the lore dump, and we'll see you next time on The Lamenters. Peace out, everyone.
Well, hello, and welcome to Bill Allen World. I am Wizzy, the Wizard. I'm back once again to remind you to subscribe and click on the notifications button, and also watch videos that are over there. Tune in to the next episode of whatever show you are just watching and watch other shows featuring Bill.